Hey everyone, my name is Wayne Botha. In this video you will learn the big picture approach for system implementation of computer systems. Let's get into it. This video is intended for release train engineers and program leads that will implement a large-scale computer information system. So your value as a release train engineer and a program lead is really to have the big picture of the entire program. I've run hundreds of successful implementations, and this is what I've learned from those implementations to help you. Begin with the end in mind. So what is the objective of this system? In many cases the objective is to upgrade an existing computer system from an old version to the new system, or possibly to implement a brand new information system that integrates prior legacy systems with a new system. You need to be able to define exactly what the objective is for this new information system. Why is the project needed? I worked on projects where an old version of Oracle was going out of date, and with it going out of support we needed to upgrade over 900 databases so that the new version could come into support again and the business could get support for their databases. So that helped a lot to define the exact objective of that program. We knew why the project was needed, what the critical milestones were, and anything else that was critical. For example, if the system must be implemented without disruption to the customers, it's critical that you know that and consider it in your program. Now, on a large program, usually you do not know everything about the program at the start of the program, and so you need a plan to get to the final project plan. So you might need to call an off-site for your leads to get together and help uncover the information that you need in order to develop that multi-year program. And then of course you need to facilitate the program as it goes through the steps, through its life cycle, removing impediments, manage dependencies, ensure communications take place. And finally you get to the launch or go live. This is the real objective of the program, is to launch or go live in some way, which includes preparation, the actual launch date and the launch events, and some warranty period. And so when I hear that there's going to be a new information system, these are the aspects that pop into my mind and which should pop straight into your mind as you lay out the program. Within a program there are going to be certain large chunks of work. This is normal for any implementation of a new system. So as the release train engineer, your value is to see the big picture and then bring in the various components to coordinate the entire team, including vendors. I'm going to quickly touch on each one of these, and hopefully it will bring up some questions in your mind, and you can address those questions through tasks in your project plan or in the program board. So first of all, you'll have some sort of planning for the program. You'll need to establish some teams to do the work. You'll have to communicate with your vendors. Find out which vendors are involved in the project, what their needs are from you, and what you need from the vendors. Then you'll execute the program. There will have to be some sort of testing at the end, and then you'll have a go live and post go live. Now, specifically highlighted here, the guy taking a look and staying focused on the go live. I found that in many projects it's easy to get stuck in the details, and so if you can open every program meeting and program increment event reminding your teams that the purpose of this project is to go live on December the 1st. Every Scrum team can then take that into consideration, and when they're prioritizing their work and deciding what the scope should be, if they should go this way or that way, everybody knows what the objective is of the program, and that helps everyone to make their own decisions. So based on my experience of running many programs, this is an approach that you can use to lay out the big pieces of work for your program plan. My strategy is to list out the work that you know about, and this will evolve over time. Every day you learn a little bit more about the work that has to be done. You learn that other work doesn't need to be done any longer, and you can remove that off your program plan. You can lay out the program tracks in a number of ways. In one program that I was leading, we had the strategy laid out so that the Data input was in one track, and all the work associated with inputting data to the database was in one track. All the work associated with manipulating the data in the databases and the data lake was in another track, and then all the work related to extracting data and reporting data was in a separate track. That's one way to do it. Sometimes you've got legacy systems built up and you need to lay out the tracks for your enterprise program across those systems. So you might have a track for claims, a track for billing, a track for reporting, another track for maintenance. And another piece of work that you might need to accommodate within your program is executive management. Providing status reports to executives, attending the various meetings, and achieving their buy-in as you move through the program. If you've got vendors, you need to talk with the vendors and build the relationships so that you can understand what work is needed from you and what work the vendors will deliver to your program. So vendor management could be a critical component of a large program. I've taken over programs where there were terrible vendor relationships and have been able to re-establish relationships through honest communication with the vendors. For your program, you have to consider the technology that will be involved. Ask questions around, are you moving from on-premise to a cloud-based solution, or will there simply be the same technology that has always been used for the new program? Similarly, you'll want to ask around DevOps. What is the level of DevOps maturity, and then what work needs to be done by your program specifically regarding that DevOps maturity? If any, perhaps you'll use an existing DevOps implementation. And finally, a question that a release train engineer should be asking early on is, what integration is needed? Do existing systems need to integrate with each other? Do the existing systems need to integrate with your new information system? Or is there no integration at all? Will data simply be migrated across? You'll want to tease that out and dig into those questions to help understand the scope. And so in my experience as a release train engineer and a program lead, I find that Scrum teams and architects are very good at getting straight down into the details. This is a program board from scaledagileFramework.com. As a release train engineer, you're obviously responsible to facilitate the program board. And I found that your real value as a release train engineer and a program lead is to see the big picture, conceptually see what all has to take place for the final program to go live over an extended period of time. The actual program board, such as this one on the screen, is very often easy for the teams to put together because they know the details and they know what the dependencies of the details are. But where the Scrum teams can often benefit from experience is by having the release train engineer see the entire scope of the program and help guide teams to fit in their components within that larger context. Okay, so let's wrap this up. The value of a release train engineer is to see the big picture. Of course, it's not the only role of a release train engineer, but it's a large part of the value that you bring. Manage the dependencies between the teams and the lead times. For example, if a team needs a firewall to be opened for their testing, there's usually a lead time to get a firewall change implemented. And then finally, in my experience, a release train engineer can add the most value by looking weeks ahead. Set priorities for your teams for the upcoming PI and for a few weeks ahead so that they can stay focused on the larger objective, which is to get you to that actual go live that you're looking for. And so I hope that this has helped you to spark some thoughts and questions for your program. I wish I could give you the single program board that would work for all implementations, but unfortunately that's not possible. The second best thing at least is to have a good context within to work. Thank you for your time. I trust that this has been of use to you.